Welcome to robspod.com and the Buddha Bomb, where you will indulge in a spiritual journey into the reality of illusion. Let's get started. Welcome to Rob's Pod. Today I'm going to give you a little philosophy. I should call it my philosophy of life. I think you'll find it quite interesting. I put this together over about 20 years and made sure that it was all consistent and holds true to the test of time. So let's talk about dreaming. Dreaming is a very cool subject, and I think you're going to find this topic very, very interesting. The question came to me, why do we dream? Now, not what do our dreams mean to us, fragmented and so forth, each individual dream, but the big picture. Why do we dream? What is it about humans that allows us to have a dream? And what would be the purpose of a dream in this world? And after careful contemplation, I came up with one thing that makes a whole lot of sense. And let me give you an example of what I came up with and how it's going to fit into my philosophy of life. You see, when we dream, we are literally creating with our minds. When we go to sleep at night and have a dream, we are literally creating an entire universe, if you will. We create the people, we create the objects, the cars, the trucks, the boats, the planes, the oceans. We create the sky, we create the clouds, the sun. We even create the emotions, the feelings. We create fear and we create love. We create all this stuff in our minds and we project it on the screen of our mind. And then we have this amazing experience of what potentially or what appears to be life. But we're sleeping. Now, the interesting part about a dream is two things in a dream do not exist, and that's time and space. And you all know this because when you're in your dream, if you remember your dream, you will know that you can literally travel from one place, let's say New York to California or to China or to some far-off country in literally a split second. You can dream a week in 5 minutes, or you can dream 5 minutes in an hour. Time really doesn't exist in a dream, and neither does space, as we just explored. So it's very interesting how the dreams are put together in our minds. The other thing I'd like to mention is a lot of times when I'm dreaming and I wake up and say, wow, that was a dream, a really cool dream, I also noticed that not only was I in the dream, but I was also observing the dream. In that effect, we actually become the observer and the observed. The question is, why do we dream? The answer seems to be, we dream to show us that we can create an entire world in our minds, be in that world, and believe that it is real, 100% real. Now, you probably figured out where I'm going with this, but let's not go there yet. Let's talk about another aspect of my philosophy. We're going to talk about the scientific aspect of it. We're going to briefly, very briefly, touch on what's called quantum physics. And for those of you who don't know, quantum physics is the study of the ultra small. We're not going to go into that real heavy. All I want to do is touch on some major things that happen in quantum physics so you understand what is going on here. Through the study of the ultra small, scientists have virtually figured out that as you go into an object and you explore it deeply with microscopes, you soon find out that what you thought was a solid thing is truly just vibration and light, particles of dust. Now, you can study this on your own. This is not a course on quantum physics, but I just want to bring out the main features in quantum physics as it applies to the philosophy I'm presenting here. So as you go in and you study the ultra small and you find out through quantum physics that everything is made of vibration and light, another interesting thing happens. In fact, two interesting things happen, and you can prove this over and over again. What they discovered was these particles of light, these things that appear to be dusty, blink in and out of existence at the ultra small level. Now that's interesting and curious, because where they go, no one seems to know, and why they come back, no one seems to know either. So just keep that in mind. The other interesting fact about quantum physics, and this is very provable, in fact it's provable over and over and over again, as we look at or give attention to or intent to, we literally control the outcome of quantum physics experiments. Now, what does that mean? That means that if we have an intention of an outcome, that outcome shows up. If we don't have any intention, if we look away, if we pay no attention to it, it just becomes a wave of possibilities. Just to touch very lightly on the history of quantum physics, when they discovered this very reproducible experiment, they wanted to call the particles they were seeing wavicles, because when they were looking at these particles, they would show up the way they thought. And when they weren't paying any attention to them, they would show up as wave forms or waves of possibilities. Now, just keep those thoughts in mind. That's all we need to know about quantum physics. What I'm trying to point out here is quite obvious, is that our minds are continually creating the outcomes that we see in this alleged real waking state of a world, this world of what we think is solids, but really is not. So now let's go back to the dream analogy, and I'll put it all together. When you're in your sleeping dream, and you're having this dream, and you're creating this entire world and believing it's real, because you feel powerless in the dream, you can have what's called a nightmare. And what happens there is you create the fear, or the object of fear, or the thing that makes you fearful, and then it becomes more and more real to you, to the point where the dream becomes a nightmare, and you feel like you're a victim in the dream, to the point where it can literally wake you up. Now, isn't that curious? Let's move all of this into what we think is called the waking state. I have to ask the question, what if in this waking state, the same thing that's going on in the sleeping state is happening here at a slower pace? In other words, we're creating in our minds everything we see outside of ourselves. We're literally creating a dream in our minds that appears to be real, and we're going through life thinking this is the real deal, when really it's just a dream. Now, why is this even remotely important, or why would you even be concerned with something that sounds so out there? Well, it might not be that far out there. Here's something that I found very interesting in my sleeping dreams. I wanted to learn more about the dreams, so what I did was, and our dream state, the reason we dream, that I learned how to lucid dream. And at the end of this talk, I will teach everyone how to do that. It's an amazing experience, by the way. The lucid dreaming is so incredibly powerful because it does something to your dream. In fact, it does two things that are amazing. See, lucid dreaming, what is lucid dreaming? Lucid dreaming is when you realize in your dream that you're dreaming. In other words, you're in a sleeping dream, and as you practice lucid dreaming, you become aware that you're in a sleeping dream. So what are the two things that happen in this awareness? The first most important one is you lose all your fears. Because, obviously, you know now that it's just a dream. This is incredible. So now you're in this dream and some monster can come up to you, and you know that you created the monster, and you can make him dissolve as quick as you created him. Because, you see, that fear is no longer a fear because you know it's not real. Very important. So here we are in this dream, and we become lucid in the dream, which means we know we're dreaming, and now we become fearless in the dream. So what's the other thing that's so important about this when you learn how to lucid dream? You realize when you're in a lucid dream that nothing is real and that you can create everything that shows up in that dream. So I can create whatever I want, whatever experience I would like. So let's say that I wanted to fly around the room. That's no problem. I've done it. It's incredible. You can fly around the world if you want. Let's say that in my lucid dream, I wanted to swim under the water and be able to breathe under the water without any fear of sharks, of anything that we fear in this world. Not a problem. I just go ahead and do it because I know it's a dream. I know it's an illusion. I know it's not real. So here I go through my dreams now, lucid dreaming, and I have this amazing ability, this incredible power to create anything I want in this dream and have it show up any way that I want in the dream and without any fear attached to it. Pretty cool, right? Let's move into the waking state. What if in this waking state we transfer everything from the dream state using the proof, if you will, from quantum physics that this truly is an illusion, a place where our mind creates everything, our thoughts create what shows up, just like our dream. But now we become lucid in this waking state. What does that mean for us? Well, the same rules apply. We become fearless. And now without that fear, what can we do? What can hurt us? Nothing. And what's really cool about it is that we can now change the structure of the dream that shows up in our lives. And I will actually have a whole podcast on how to do that because it's really cool. And you can definitely do it. It's been done thousands of times. And I'm going to take some of the best people that teach how to create using your mind, and we're going to go into a very heavy discussion on this, and I think you'll find that very, very enlightening. But anyway, going back to the state of mind in the waking state of having this dream and being able to control everything in your waking state without any fear is quite an amazing thing when you think about it. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to do that, to create your entire world and have it show up just like you would like it to? And that's what I'm referring to here. Do you realize that most of us go through this life, this alleged waking state, as a victim? We see things around us, happening around us, and we see things happening to us. And we feel we have no control over any of it. We're literally in this illusion, and the illusion is showing up just the way we think it will as a victim. When I show you, or when I teach you later, how to control the outcomes, and I don't even like to use the word control, how to create the outcomes that you would like to see, now this becomes an entirely different illusion. It becomes an illusion where you're participating in a way that's positive, in a way that feels good, in a way that there's nothing that can happen that you don't allow to happen. And that's the power of lucid dreaming. That's the power of becoming lucid in this waking state. So one might say, okay, we're in this dream, you call it, in this waking state that's a dream. How does one wake up from this dream? That's very simple. If you drop your body, in other words, what some would call die, then you would wake up from this dream, and you might even say, wow, it was only a dream. Isn't that interesting? So I just want you all to contemplate this. Contemplate the possibility here. The possibility that the reason we dream was to teach us that we can create an entire universe in our mind and believe it's real. And then the state that we think is a waking state is really an illusion that we're creating with our minds, but we're creating that illusion as a victim because we don't really realize we're in a dream. So therefore, we are the victims of the waking state, or victims of the illusion we call life. What if I gave you the possibility to be lucid in this thing we call life, and now lose all your fear and have complete control of the dream, to the point where it will be the most amazing experience you will ever have in your entire life. I can literally teach you how to take your power back from the fears that have robbed you of it. Now, for those of you who would like to try lucid dreaming, and I highly, highly, highly stress that you practice this, at least if you do nothing else. If you believe nothing else that I've said, that's fine. Just try lucid dreaming. It will be the most amazing experience in your life. So the question is, how do you lucid dream? And I'm going to give you the simplest method that worked for me. And you can use any other method you like, but this seemed to work for me. The idea is to train your mind or condition your mind to do something very repetitive where it becomes natural. And the thing I want you to train yourself to do is very simple. It's to look at your watch all day long, throughout your whole day, every single day of the week. You look at your watch, you say to yourself, what time is it? Oh, I see the time now. And you do this. You could do it every half hour, every 2 hours, but do it continuously. Do it every single day. Don't miss a day. And continually look at your watch and ask yourself, what time is it? And then take note of the time. That's all you have to do. You may have to do this for 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months. I did mine for about 6 or 7 weeks, and it became very effective. Here's the next step. In step 2, what you do is, when you go to sleep, and you can start after a month, and it may or may not work, but when you go to sleep at night, tell yourself and put yourself to sleep with this little mantra: I will look at my watch in my dream. I will look at my watch in my dream. Say that over and over and over again until you fall asleep. What will eventually happen when you're ready is that in your dream, you will look at your watch. But as I stated before, in a sleeping dream, time does not exist because time was created by man. So in a sleeping dream, there is no time. So when you look at your watch, the most amazing thing happens, and it can happen in all different forms. For me, my watch literally melted on my wrist. And when I looked down and saw my watch melting, the first thing that went through my mind was, I'm in a dream. Here's the interesting factor here. I look at my watch, I see that I'm in a dream, and the first thing that happens is I get excited and I wake up. And I blew the whole deal. And this will probably happen to you. It happened to me 3 times in a row, in fact. I looked at my watch 3 times, I got really excited, and I woke up. And then I was really annoyed that I woke up, and I really wanted to be lucid in that dream. So here's what I want you to do. Continue to do this practice, because it might take you 4 or 5 times, but you're going to come to a point where you won't wake up anymore. You'll say, oh, I'm in a dream. This is so cool. If you want to summon someone to talk to that you haven't seen for a long time, or you want to summon a spirit to talk to, or you want to fly around a room, or do anything you want, it's all there for you. It is the coolest thing on the planet to do a lucid dream. And then you might want to ask whoever you summon the Buddha and say, hey, is the world an illusion? Is what he's saying correct? And see what your answer is. It might be curious. Try this. Get yourself in that lucid state of mind in your dream and just have an absolute blast. But I have to warn you, and for me, the lucid dreaming became almost addictive because it was so much fun that I couldn't wait to get to sleep. I couldn't wait to get to a dream. And it becomes something almost like doing drugs. So just be careful with it, because it is amazingly interesting and fun. But I don't know that it's completely healthy to do or not. I have no clue. All I know is I had to move away from lucid dreaming for a while because I felt so compelled to always go to sleep and always try to experience the dream, because I had so much control in the dream and so much power in the dream to create. And I, like I said, I don't like using the word control. I had the power to create, and I knew that. And I could create literally anything that I wanted. If I wanted to start a fire by snapping my fingers, I'd snap my fingers, and there was a fire. Do I want to feel the heat from the fire? There it is. Perfect. Do I want to feel the cool breeze? There it is. Anything you want to experience is there. Literally anything and everything you want to experience will show up in your lucid dream just by you asking for it. And I want to tell you again, in this waking state, we have the same power. We can do the same thing once we understand what this life really is. So for now, I'd like to say goodbye. I hope you found this talk interesting. There are plenty more possibilities on Rob's Pod. If you go into iTunes, you can download for free, and it'll always be free, Rob's Pod, Questioning Everything. You can also listen to it on the website, and you go and join the Facebook page for discussions on some of these topics. Once again, thank you for listening, and everyone have a wonderful dream. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to visit robspod.com and give us your thoughts. Ask a question or suggest a topic you want to hear about on our show. If you would like to be a guest on the show, email us at guest@robspod.com.